All right. Well, hello everybody. I hope everybody can hear. I don't know if there's a way to make a comment to make sure everybody can hear us. We'll get started here in just a minute. I think some people are still logging in. I'm going to just double check some technical things here real quick. How are you doing today, Rex?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Chasing little man around, got a workout in, so we're starting strong. Yep.
All right, great. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Andy Hoffman, and sitting next to me is my son, Jack Hoffman. And, of course, the other person that's joined us today is Rex Burkhead. I want to thank Rex for taking time out of his busy schedule to join us here this afternoon. Rex has been a huge part of our mission here at the Team Jack Foundation and has been with us since the very beginning, and we just can't thank him enough for all that he has done. Also want to thank those that are joining us online today. We wanted to throw an event that people could watch and enjoy and maybe kind of help pass the time as we go through this very difficult time as a country. We're going to be doing a series of these, and so be on the lookout for other celebrities. It's going to be pretty hard to follow up a Super Bowl champion, but we'll do our best. For those of you that don't know a lot about the Team Jack Foundation, the Team Jack Foundation was started in January of 2013. Since that time, we've committed almost $8.4 million to research. Recent projects, and you can go online to teamjackfoundation.org to read about some of our other research projects. Recent projects and commitments have been as follows. We recently approved a $375,000 grant to Dr. Ashley Plant at Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago for a Phase 1 DIPG project. For those of you who may not be familiar with DIPG, that stands for diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. That's a type of brain cancer, believe it or not, that is terminal upon diagnosis. So we don't measure that in terms of what are your chances of survival. Zero. It has a 0% survival rate. And so that's a disease that we've put a fair amount of research dollars into, and we're excited about this project. This is a clinical trial, and so it's a way that we can actually help take a new treatment to kids and see if it works. For those of you that have followed our mission, you guys know that we're committed to doing research at UNMC. What an exciting time here in Nebraska for UNMC. They're absolutely leading this nation in terms of coronavirus research, and so we made our commitment to UNMC a few years ago. We committed $5 million on top of the $1.5 million that we had already committed. As part of that $5 million research commitment, we've approved grants within that pot. Those have included a $330,000 grant to Dr. Mahapatra for medulloblastoma research. We also did a $21,000 research grant to Dr. Chris Schaefer for a pain management screening project, and then also a $49,000 grant to Megan Weaver for rehab and music therapy program at Children's. Those last two grants have to do with pain management. That's kind of a big part of obviously any childhood cancer treatment, especially pediatric brain cancer treatment. In terms of the UNMC project, we're excited that we've got these grants rolling and we've got some research happening right here in the state of Nebraska. We are still continually working with people locally and nationally to recruit physicians to Omaha to help treat this disease. Our goal still is to create a center of excellence right here in Omaha so that our Nebraska kids don't have to travel all across the country for so many of these therapies. One more project that I wanted to note is we committed $150,000 to Sloan Kettering in New York for a DIPG research project that was last year. And so we've done, I think we've been tremendous stewards with your dollars. We'll work very efficiently. We take that Nebraska lunch bucket approach to how we do things, and every dollar counts. I like to go back to how this thing started back when Rex was a junior at Nebraska. Started with a T-shirt. It's a Team Jack on it. The sale of that T-shirt led to a $275,000 research project, which led to a clinical trial that was announced last year. So people that donated $15 through the purchase of a T-shirt, that 7, 8, 9 years later has resulted in an actual clinical trial that has taken place. And so pat yourself on the back for being involved in this project. We're so proud of the work that's been done, but not proud of us. We're proud of you because it all begins and ends with you, our amazing donors here in Nebraska. So enough about Team Jack. That's your infomercial for the day. Let's have some fun now. I think to get started, Rex, I guess, can you kind of give us people have heard me blab on and on and on about how Team Jack started and all that, but I guess from your perspective, can you kind of tell us how this all started and what has made you stick around? I mean, you've had tremendous staying power with this project, why do you do what you do, and how did you get involved?
Yeah, I guess like you mentioned, before we got to the T-shirt. So Keith Zimmer, our life skills director at the University of Nebraska, he just asked me one day, "Hey Rex, I got this family, a kid who had just been diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. Would you mind just giving them a tour of the stadium, having lunch with them, and just kind of hanging out with them for the day?" And so that was the day I got to meet Andy, Jack, and the rest of the family. And we just kind of hung out, had fun. And from then on, we stayed in touch. So I wanted to see how Jack was doing, follow up on any MRIs or treatments he may be having upcoming. And then Coach Pelini kind of caught word. And so he began he invited Jack out to a practice and then to a game. And of course, the big Ohio State game, Jack got a huge shout out from the announcers. And so that's when, early on it kind of evolved and kept going. And of course, Jack's touchdown to spring game, was a big moment for the foundation. So, and just my continual involvement, there's not a cure. There's still much more that needs to be done. Some of these treatment options are over 30 years old for these kids. And that motivates me to, improve my role with the foundation and do whatever I can to help the cause.
Thanks, Rex. Jack, do you remember that first visit down in Lincoln?
Kind of.
Do you remember racing him across Memorial Stadium?
Yeah, I remember that.
How bad you beat him? Rex might want a rematch.
Yeah, I want a rematch after that. We had a lot of pizza that day. I was a little full. That's what it was.
So, Rex, you've been a board member since the very beginning of this thing, and you continue to serve, as a board of director, and we're so grateful for that. You've taken this to the next step, though. You have created an event down in Texas, an event that really has become one of the marquee events for the Team Jack Foundation. It's an event that we all look forward to caravanning from Nebraska down to Texas every year for. Tell us about that event. I don't want to steal your thunder, but tell us about that event and why you decided to do that event and why that event is so important.
Yeah, so the Team Jack trifecta. I've always wanted to give back to the community in my hometown in Plano. For those of you who don't know, it's just about 25 minutes north of downtown Dallas. And so I've always wanted to have an event to give back to the people there. The community gave me so much when I was there. And so we did kind of a 3 event in one deal that pertains to all ages. We have a 5K, a football camp, and an adult 3-on-3 basketball tournament. And so also with the great auction, and all the proceeds go to the foundation. And it was just something that I wanted to do, and to have Team Jack on board with it and that cause connected with it is unbelievable. And it couldn't be done without the people, of course, with the foundation, and then just a great support group down here in Plano as well, who have really gotten behind the cause and done whatever they can to help.
Yeah, I tell you, Nebraskans are so proud of Nebraska. Nebraska nice. There is no place like Nebraska. I'll tell you what, Plano, Texas is a very special place, speaking from personal experience. You've got a tremendous group of family supporters. family, friends, and colleagues down there. It's just overwhelming to go down there. Speaking of family, describe your own family's involvement in the team, Jack. I always tell people that, this started out as a relationship between a sick child player visit, and then it turned into a relationship between Jack and Rex, and then, the football team and Jack, and then the football team and the disease. But from our perspective, it also turned into a relationship between your family. I mean, it wasn't just enough that you got involved. Tell us about your family's involvement and why they've gotten involved, and just share with us, if you could, a little bit about your family's involvement.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, my parents have been heavily involved with it, with our event, especially down here in Plano, as well as my wife, Danielle, and, even her parents, my grandparents. I mean, my brothers, help us out with the 5K every year, planning that with the trifecta. So they've just been a huge help, with my event here. They've come up for the gala as well. And so, it just means the world to me to have them and their support and help, for this cause also. And it just shows, how great they are with that. Of course, and now having a son, Jet, 16 months old, is definitely motivation even more to help out. You just imagine picturing your kid, possibly with this disease, fighting for his life. And so it's a true inspiration for me. It makes it more real to help out and do whatever I can.
I think your mom and dad and your grandparents, and this is really cool about the Team Jack trifecta. Not only if you travel down there for this event, or if you're in Texas listening, not only do you get to meet Rex and his fabulous wife, but their parents, which is so amazing. And then not only their parents, but their parents. And so it's the grandparents are there, the parents are there. It's just really this entire Wiggins and Burkhead family has wrapped their arms around this cause, and we couldn't be more grateful for that broad family support, Rex. Speaking of your dad, I like sharing a story I'll never forget, and this is the first time I met Rick Burkhead, your father. I was sitting in a hospital room in Boston, Massachusetts in October of 2011, and just a few days after you scored those 2 touchdown runs against Ohio State. And I'm sitting there, my phone rings, and I'm in the room with Jack in the evening, and it was your father just calling to see how Jack was doing and to let us know that Jack was in your family's thoughts and prayers. And I'll never forget that phone call. And to me, that kind of set the stage for just how amazing your family is, and we just can't thank them enough. With that, Jack has a question for you, Rex. We'll kind of get going with the Q&A here.
What is your most memorable moment as a Husker?
Ooh, man. I think number one that tops it all is your spring game touchdown run, Jack. I don't think there's a dry eye in the stands for that moment. It was definitely special to me and everyone else in there as well. To go to my experiences playing, I would have to say my first touchdown at Memorial Stadium was just, unbelievable. It's truly special. Run out on the red carpet before the game. It's definitely a moment I'll never forget. And then I think the Ohio State game, to put another one in there, when we were down, 28 points or something at halftime. And it was the first Big Ten game at home in the new conference. And, we ended up coming back and winning, and just the style we did it, everything that was wrapped into that game, was pretty memorable.
Now, how about as a Patriot?
As a Patriot, winning the Super Bowl for sure. There's nothing else like it. The confetti coming down on you after the game and having your family out there was special. And Jack, my turn. Jack, what is your most memorable moment from your first season of junior high football?
I'd have to say one time when I was on defense, the quarterback got the ball snapped to him. I got by the defender, and I when he started to chuck it, I jumped. I know I should have just went for the blow, but I ended up still hitting him, and it was a short throw, and one of my fellow defenders caught it, and he went in for the touchdown.
Nice. I love it. What position were you playing at the time?
I don't honestly remember. I think I was trying to get past the center.
Coast Guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nose guard. Awesome.
Jack, you've had a lot of cool things in your life, and a lot of these cool things have happened with Rex. What is your favorite memory with Rex? Thing that you've done or done together, or event? Do you have any, or what would you like to share?
I'd say one time when we were in Boston, we went to a Red Sox game with him and his wife.
Who was all there?
Me, my mom, Rex, and Danielle.
Yeah. They left
That was
me
pretty
off.
awesome. Yeah. Without Andy. Sorry, man.
Yeah, you guys have done a couple Red Sox games, I think, haven't you? As I recall, maybe just one.
I think we did another one too. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, no, it's a great atmosphere. If you're ever up there, you have to go to Fenway. So much history there. It's awesome.
So we have received a number of questions from the audience. Rex, I think you've got some questions there. This is a question from Rex, and I'll ask the question. This is from Nick Al. Rex, would you ever come watch a game with the New England Patriots fans of the Dallas Club if you could?
I would love to. It's difficult right now being up in Boston during the season. But whenever I'm done playing, hopefully not for many more years, but whenever that time does come, I would love to join the New England Patriots clubs or fans of Dallas Club.
Now this is a question for both Jack and Rex. Jack, I'm going to let you answer first since Rex just went. How are you spending your time in quarantine?
It's actually not that bad. It's kind of like summer. I can choose when I want to do my homework. First, I get my homework thrown at me on Monday of the week. Then I get to choose when and where to do it, as long as it's done by Friday. So I can go outside, play with my dog and my sisters whenever I want, as long as my homework's done by Friday.
So you've been goofing off. Is that what you're doing? Is that what you're telling me?
No. I love it.
How about you, Rex? How have you been handling this quarantine and this staying at home?
Yeah. So, of course, continuing the training, getting some garage gym workouts in, having to get creative with that, but that's still going on. I got a field by my house that I'll go to also. We'll start up some virtual OTAs next week and, get into that with the team and everything since we're not allowed to be at the facility. But been doing that, of course, hanging out with my little guy who gets his fishing cast in probably 3 times a day, and also with his golf swings. He does that with his Fisher Price sets. So just spending a ton of time with him, of course, my wife as well, and just taking it all in.
Awesome. Another question from Mick L., and we'll go to Jack first. What would you say is your greatest achievement, Jack?
I'd say being gone from school a lot and just keeping up academically, not falling behind all the other kids.
With all your treatments and surgeries and stuff? Has that been hard for you?
When we were gone in Boston for like a month, my teachers had to send me my homework. That was kind of a pain, but it was still okay. They didn't make me retake a grade, luckily.
So you're still up with your class and your grades?
Definitely.
Says a lot about your teachers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Some pretty good ones here in Atkinson. Rex, how about you? What would you say has been your greatest achievement?
Yeah. I think starting with personal ones, getting married to a wonderful woman, and then of course starting a family with her has definitely been, awesome. And then, from a football standpoint, getting drafted by the Bengals was definitely a dream come true. Always wanted to play in the NFL, and to live out that dream, to get that call was pretty special. And, as well as win the Super Bowl. That's been a super proud moment, and, something I'll definitely never forget.
Well, if I were to answer that question for you, which I don't get to do, scoring a touchdown in overtime down in Kansas City, that's the right up there. I'm sure we've got some Chiefs fans on here, so we've got to throw that out there.
Yeah, I know your audience, and
That's the top 5, right? Greatest achievement.
It is top 5 for sure. Top 5 for sure. So,
here's a question from Connie B. This is for both Jack and Rex. I'm gonna state the whole question, and then it's 2 questions, and I'll state both of them, and then I'll come back and answer the first subpart. From Connie B, Jack and Rex, with all that is going on in our world, what is the best thing that has happened to each of you since COVID-19? First question. Second question, what is the hardest or worst thing to happen to you? Jack, we'll start with you. What's the best thing that's happened to you because of all this? I know there's a lot of sad things going on in the world, and I don't want to, state that's just all been fun and games. This has been heartbreaking for all of us. But, in terms of how your day goes and stuff, what's been one of the best things about it?
When we got kicked out of school, it was nice to find out that doing homework at home wasn't that bad. I thought it was going to be a big pain in the butt sitting behind a computer on a chair all day, but it really wasn't that bad.
How about you, Rex? What has been the best thing that's happened to you with everything that's going on?
Yeah, I think just being able to spend more time with the family. Usually you're running around, always doing things, and now you really can't do that. So that's been nice, just having that extra time with them. And also, I would say connecting with some old friends back in the day and having some, great deep conversations, and normally don't have with, a ton of work going on, or not being at home or available or around your phone as much. So that's something that's really been cool too.
Jack, what's been the hardest thing that's happened, or the worst thing that's happened to you with all of this that's going on?
Well, it's really sucked not being able to see friends and family. But probably the worst part was not being able to do Easter with family. Having to say hi over FaceTime stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Jack. Yeah, Easter was definitely tough. I had my parents, and my wife's parents. They'd drive by the front yard and have to wave and look out the window, and I see my little guy Jet running to him, like wanting to hop in the car, wanting to hug him, and like he can't do it, and so it breaks their hearts. Of course, they start crying. It's tough. It really is. So I'm with you there.
So Rex, and if that's your response, that's a good one. But has that been the hardest or worst thing that's happened to you? I guess, or if you want to just elaborate on some of the adversities that all of this that's going on has presented to you.
Yeah. We, of course, with our trifecta event, we've had to postpone that. So we've had to push that back. But really, other than that, it's been great. Health wise, we're great. The family, everyone, close to us has been healthy. So we're blessed. We're grateful. And really everything else, we understand that what's going on and how it needs to be controlled. So, really not too much to complain about.
Thanks. Here's a question from Jason D. This question is for Rex. Rex, out of all of the football games you've participated in from high school, college, and the pros, which one do you think defines you the most and that you want to forever be remembered for?
Yeah, so I mentioned it earlier, the Ohio State game. I think just the given situation. I mean, we're down 28 points or whatever it was. And, all of a sudden the second half, we start getting it going. And I think, me personally, I know a lot of the guys we started doing no huddle. And so we're all just gasping for breath. We were dying, we were tired, but we kept fighting and we kept putting our foot forward, and kept scoring, kept bringing the game back in our hands. And it's also I think the first game we started wearing the Team Jack bands too. And so I know they made a huge announcement on the TV, for that as well. And so just everything combined with that was really just unbelievable and something I'll never forget.
Let's help Jason's question out a little bit. That's really kind of you to say that, and it means a lot to me and to our family, knowing that is sort of the one of the wow moments in your entire decorated football career. But breaking that down a little bit, we've got some people from Plano, Texas on here. Tell us about your favorite, if you were to pick a high school game or a high school football moment where you look back at that time at Plano, being a Plano Wildcat, and you say, okay, that was the moment. This is what defines me as a player.
Yeah. Oh, man. So we're going to do all three. Okay. So high school, it would be probably a playoff game against Dallas Skyline. I had a punt return for a touchdown, threw a touchdown and ran one as well. And so I'd always taken pride in being very versatile. And I think I really showed it that day. And at the time, I think Skyline was #1 in the state, and we were, kind of predicted to get blown out. And we ended up winning by like 30 or 40 points. I don't remember, but that was probably the game in high school, just because of everything that was involved with it that I had to do. I'd want to be remembered.
Awesome. And then how about in the NFL?
And then in the NFL, I mean, we'll go with the Chiefs game. I know some people on here may not be happy with that one, but just all the pressure, the atmosphere that went into it, just being able to perform under that and everything at stake was just unbelievable, to be able to play, to be able to have success during those times, and ultimately score a touchdown to help the team be able to play in the Super Bowl. And just the fashion we did it in was pretty special.
So it wasn't just one touchdown; it was 2 touchdowns. It was the one to put you into overtime, and then the one to win the game. You're in the huddle. Tom Brady's in the huddle. You go up to the line of scrimmage. You know you're going to get the ball. What's going through your mind? Don't fumble it. Score a touchdown. Do your job. I mean, what's going through Rex Burkhead's mind?
Yeah. So Tom actually comes in the huddle and started the drive, and he's just walking in like cool. He's got his hands in his little hand warm protector or whatever. And he looks like he's just so relaxed, like he could fall asleep pretty much. Like he was just so relaxed, calm, confident. And he looks around the huddle. We all do. We all look at each other, and everybody's just in this zone like I've never seen before. Like everyone knew what we were about to do, what we were capable of. And we just had so much confidence, even when we got into a 3rd and long situation, like we're going to convert this. And so he just been in that situation so many times before. He felt nothing. And so just seeing that, having that presence in the huddle, like just gives you a sense of calmness and as well. And we went out there and finished it off.
Did he tell you anything, or any of the other players tell you anything right before the play?
He's just like, let's go do this, guys. That was about it. And so we were just so locked in, ready for the play to be called and to get in our positions and go.
Awesome. Jack, we're going to you now, okay?
Okay.
So Rebecca C. has a question for Jack. Jack, what was going through your mind when you were in front of 90,000 plus Husker fans during that awesome 69-yard run?
There was a trillion things. 1, don't faint. 2, don't run the wrong way, which I failed at that one. 3, don't trip. And 4, don't stop before the touchdown line.
Do you remember getting coached up on the sideline before the play?
Yeah.
If you look back on that?
I was so nervous.
So here's a little fun fact that I don't think was on any of the specials about the run. Jack actually changed on the sideline. Some of the Husker offensive linemen circled up around Jack, and he stripped down and he got dressed right there on the sideline. So, and then he just kind of emerged from the sideline that way. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah.
So, Rex, here's a question for you from a fan. How has Team Jack changed your life?
Yeah, I'd say Team Jack's changed my life because it's given me something else besides a football player to really get behind and go after. And, to be able to use my platform, whether that's in college or the NFL, and to have this purpose to help this cause is awesome. It's just unbelievable because life's about helping people. It's about helping others, not necessarily yourself. And so, it's been great. I'm so grateful because I get to meet Andy, Jack, all these people surrounding this cause and this disease who have this passion to find a cure. And, for me, it's just giving me a fire every single day and something to strive for and go after.
Thanks. Jack, here's a question from you, from Luke and Eli. Jack, what do you want to be when you grow up?
It's changed often. I don't know. I want to get a job where I can still work while we're in a recession in times like this so that I won't be screwed or lose my job, but also something that I enjoy. So I'll have to see what life throws at me.
That's a pretty deep response. Any ideas?
I don't know. I'll
still mulling over your options?
Yeah.
Rex, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Man, when I'm done playing, oh man. Of course, I always want to be an NFL player, but when I'm done, I may get into the sports performance world. I've always been intrigued and, had a passion for that realm. So we'll see, though. Who knows? I may end up becoming a lawyer or something like you over there, Andy. So we'll see.
Well, we could sure use a good partner like yourself. Nebraska would welcome you back to the state with open arms. We've got a few other submissions here I'm going to go through. Got a question here from Nancy. This is a question for Rex. This is from Nancy K. And she says, "Hi Rex, thank you for all you're doing with Team Jack and raising money for childhood cancer. My question is, I was wondering if you would ever consider playing for the Dallas Cowboys."
Oh man. Well, growing up, of course, that was my team. I grew up in Dallas, and we'll have to see what happens. I would love to finish off being a Patriot, but of course, in the NFL, you never know what can happen. So, we'll just have to see.
This is a question. We'll go there next, okay. But this is a question from Chad. Chad C. He has a question for both Rex and Jack, and it's two questions. And so we'll go with the first question first. And Rex, this is to you. What was the first concert you ever went to?
The first concert I ever went to was actually in Nebraska. It was a Tim McGraw concert my freshman year out in Omaha. And so, yeah, it was pretty cool. And Lady Antebellum was the, whatever you call it, pre-performers there. So, yeah, country concert. That was my first one.
Those are hard. That's a hard concert to follow. If that's your first concert. Jack, what was your first concert that you can remember?
It was a Michael Bublé one.
Oh,
in Lincoln.
Yep. Rex, what is your favorite band or musician?
Whew, man. When I was younger, Linkin Park was kind of my band. I loved them. Now it's a guy called NF. He does multiple things, and yeah, I would say right now he's probably my go-to.
How about you, Jack? What's your favorite band?
I'd say Florida Georgia Line.
Florida Georgia Line.
Nice.
Thanks for those questions, Chad. I got one more question here. Question is, and I might help Jack answer this, is what is the current status of your health? Jack, if you want to share with everybody kind of what you have going on in terms of what your days look like, your treatment and therapies for your epilepsy.
Right now I'm doing pretty good. I take lots of pills a day. That's not bad. I have to go to Boston every 3 months, and I think we're still going, even though this virus is upon us. But that's pretty much what it looks like.
Okay, and do you know why you're taking, what kind of therapies you're taking? So Jack is on a clinical trial through the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, and it's a clinical trial with dabrafenib and trametinib. It's a multi-drug therapy, and he's been on therapy since I think August of 2018. And so the follow-up question to that was, is he in remission? Brain tumors are such that they stop growing and they can kind of go into remission. But Jack's got sort of a nasty genetic mutation in his, and it kind of causes it to flare up pretty good. And so this is his third cancer therapy in 9 years, and second clinical trial of those 3 therapies. And so those clinical trials, for those that hear us talk about clinical trials, my dumbed down version of what a clinical trial is, and my wife gets on me for this because she's a pharmacist and it's not technically correct, but my version of a clinical trial is when we take an adult cancer therapy and we start giving it to kids. And so Jack is on a melanoma drug. He has a genetic mutation that a lot of melanoma patients have, and because there are such a high volume of melanoma patients, drug companies went out and developed a therapy for those melanoma patients. Researchers at an academic institution were able to identify that some kids with some brain tumors have the same genetic mutation as those melanoma therapies, and as a result, we can apply those to kids. And so that's really what's going on in Jack's life therapy-wise. Is we're pumping full of adult cancer drugs, and they're working, and we're very grateful for that. And we're grateful for people that 10 years ago said, we ought to fund child brain cancer research here in Boston and here in Philadelphia, so that we can find things like genetic mutations and see if there's other options out there. And so really, Jack is a testament to the power of private research dollars, because without those donations 10 years ago, long before Jack was even diagnosed with a brain tumor, today he is living because of those dollars that were invested by private individuals. And so we kind of sound like a broken record a lot of times, but these dollars are so important. And I'm just going to kind of conclude with sort of this testimony about why this is so important. And people wonder why we don't research childhood cancer. Why isn't it more heavily researched? And the answer is really quite simple if you think about it. There's only 13,000 kids in the United States that are diagnosed each year with childhood cancer, 4,600 of which are diagnosed with brain tumors. 9 kids today approximately will learn that they have a brain tumor. With such a few number of kids being diagnosed with cancer, and then even less than that with brain cancer, there is not financial incentive for large pharmaceutical companies to go out and develop therapies just for kids with brain tumors. Add to that the fact that there's over 150 different types and kinds of pediatric brain cancer. It's really difficult to incentivize a private research company to create a drug that's only going to have a small handful of customers each year. Well, the same thing can be said about the federal government. the federal government, doesn't fund childhood cancer research the way they ought to. Out of all of the dollars allocated to pediatric cancer research, only 4%, less than 4% is allocated to pediatric cancer therapy. Why? 13,000 a year, all childhood cancer. There's just not enough votes. So we don't have any incentive at the federal government level, who is the biggest funder of research for all cancers, the federal government. There's not enough votes to incentivize politicians to funding childhood cancer research. On the company side, there's not enough customers. So there's this huge gap in research funding, and that gap has to be filled with private foundations like Team Jack. And so when we talk about funding clinical trials, it's great to be able to say we funded this clinical trial. That's a real legitimate deal that's happening. And it's not just happening because of Team Jack. This last clinical trial, we're one of 4 private foundations across the United States that have said, look, we'll help fund this. We were the last in on that one. There's other clinical trials where we've been the first in. Where I always love being the first in, because then we kind of set the stage and get the thing going. And so this is a real deal. And Rex, I'm so grateful to you for taking this disease and putting it on your back and say, hey, let's go score more touchdowns. Because without guys like you using their platform, we would not be where we're at. And, I just, on behalf of all kids with brain tumors, I can't thank you enough. It's just, you've played such a critical role in this. And everybody listening, you guys obviously play a critical role as well. I want to say one more thing, and then I'm going to kind of let Rex give a final salute, if that's okay. This is unscripted, but we were talking about these T-shirts in 2012. This is the third. I've done some research. There's 2 companies in Nebraska that printed this shirt. Both were heavily involved in printing Tom Osborne's retirement shirt and the 1994 National Championship shirt. I think this is the 3rd most purchased T-shirt in Husker football history, behind those 2 shirts, is my understanding. Over, I think, 60,000 of this shirt has been sold. This T-shirt, which retails for $15 plus or minus, it's helped fund research. And it's been responsible for helping fund that initial laboratory research in 2013, and then also a clinical trial that was committed to in later in 2013. As a special gift, if you were to make a donation, what time is it? Jack, should we give people till what, 2 o'clock? And the Team Jack staff is watching this, so I don't have their permission or their authority. So I'm just going to say, if you make a donation before 2 o'clock, that's 17 minutes, of any type or size or kind, to the Team Jack Foundation, but you've got to be one of the registrants for this. So if you put it on your Facebook wall and people donate, then that doesn't count. So if you're attending this seminar and you make a donation in the next 17 minutes, we'll send you a free shirt. If you don't, no worries. We're just glad you could join us. Rex, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for listening and just the continued support. Like Andy said, it's not heavily funded by the government. So, the great support we get, the funding, helps us to make gains and, providing better treatment options for these kids fighting cancer. And I know times are tough right now, but there's many ways you can get involved with Team Jack and stay continued involved with the funding of research for these children. So, one way is to make a donation in any amount to Team Jack. Sorry, I don't have a T-shirt like Andy had there, but it's very vital to support research. So you can do this by visiting teamjackfoundation.org/live. That's teamjackfoundation.org/live. So really appreciate your support again, and hope you guys continue to listen each and every week with our new guests. So I'll close it with the man of the hour here. Jack, do you have anything you want to say?
I just like to thank everyone that's joined.
Thanks, guys. One final reminder, we're going to be doing this next week. We have a real special guest that we're excited about, head coach Bo Pelini, former head coach Bo Pelini at Youngstown State in Nebraska, now defensive coordinator for Ed Orgeron at LSU. He's going to be joining us next week, and so please tune in if you can. We're excited about that. And Rex, thank you again for joining us today, and thank you everybody for joining us online. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Awesome. Thank you all.
I got to figure out how to end this.